$2.4 billion. That's the eye-popping figure at the heart of South Carolina's biggest financial crime, a labyrinthine tale of deception, greed, and betrayal that would make even the most seasoned financial investigators break a sweat. This is the money trail, and we're diving deep into the shocking story that rocked an entire state to its core. In 2017, a shadowy figure named John Duncan Graffius III was arrested, accused of orchestrating a colossal Ponzi scheme that defrauded over 360 investors from across South Carolina and beyond. Over the course of 2 decades, this cunning conman managed to siphon off a jaw-dropping $17.5 million in investor funds, all while claiming to operate a highly successful trading platform backed by an impenetrable web of lies. At its height, Graffius' scheme lured unsuspecting victims with promises of double-digit returns and a bulletproof investment strategy that he claimed could generate annual returns as high as 18%. To add credibility to his elaborate ruse, the conman even went so far as to create phony account statements, complete with glowing testimonials from satisfied clients. But behind the curtain of lies and deception lay a grim reality. Graffius' investment scheme was nothing more than a house of cards built on quicksand. Instead of investing his clients' money as promised, he used it to fund a lavish lifestyle complete with luxury cars, opulent homes, and exotic vacations, all while leaving his victims high and dry. As the scale of Graffius' crimes began to emerge, so too did the devastating impact on those who had trusted him with their life savings. From retirees struggling to make ends meet to small business owners hoping to grow their companies, the list of victims painted a heart-wrenching picture of shattered dreams and broken trust. In this special report, we'll follow the money trail that led to Graffius' downfall, uncovering the tactics he used to ensnare his victims and exploring the crucial role played by law enforcement in bringing him to justice. So buckle up, because this is one wild ride you won't want to miss. This is the money trail. As we delve deeper into this tangled web of deception, let's take a closer look at the key players in what has been dubbed the biggest financial crime in South Carolina history. At the heart of this scandal is our alleged perpetrator, Lee Graffius. A charismatic figure with an extensive background in finance, he used his expertise to lure unsuspecting victims into a complex Ponzi scheme that would eventually cost them their life savings. Between 2015 and 2018, it's estimated that Graffius defrauded over 100 investors out of more than $17 million. His modus operandi was simple yet effective. Promise high returns on low-risk investments, then use the influx of new money to pay off earlier investors while skimming off a substantial portion for himself. This house of cards came crashing down when the SEC stepped in, freezing his assets and launching a full-scale investigation into his activities. On the other side of this debacle are Graffius' victims, hardworking individuals who trusted him implicitly with their hard-earned cash. People like Martha Williams, a retired schoolteacher from Charleston, who lost her entire pension pot after being assured by Graffius that her investment was risk-free. Or James McAllister, a small business owner who saw his dreams of expansion evaporate before his eyes as he watched his life savings disappear. But it wasn't just the victims and the villain in this tragic tale. Crucial to uncovering the truth were law enforcement agencies such as the FBI, IRS, and the SEC. Their relentless pursuit of justice not only led to Graffius' arrest, but also resulted in the recovery of some of the stolen funds. In our next segment, we'll follow the money trail that led to Graffius' downfall, uncovering the tactics he used to ensnare his victims and exploring the crucial role played by these agencies in bringing him to justice. Stay tuned for the money trail. In the early 2000s, South Carolina's financial landscape seemed pristine, but beneath the surface, a massive fraud was taking root. The mastermind behind this scheme was Robert Graffius, a seemingly respectable money manager who had established his own firm, Graffius Enterprises. From 2004 to 2008, Graffius orchestrated an intricate Ponzi scheme that swindled over $7 million from unsuspecting investors, many of whom were retirees seeking safe havens for their life savings. He lured them in with promises of lucrative returns through high-stakes options trading on the stock market. However, instead of investing the funds as promised, he used the money to fund his lavish lifestyle, complete with luxury cars and extravagant vacations. The first sign of trouble emerged when one investor grew suspicious about the lack of detailed financial statements from Graffius Enterprises. This investor contacted the Securities Fraud Task Force of South Carolina, sparking a comprehensive investigation into Graffius' activities. Simultaneously, the Securities and Exchange Commission initiated its own probe after noticing irregularities in Graffius' reporting. As investigators delved deeper, they discovered a web of deceit. Graffius had created fake account statements, forged financial documents, and even fabricated phantom trades to dupe his clients. By 2008, the house of cards came crashing down when the SEC obtained a court order freezing his assets amidst allegations of fraud. What followed was a painstaking process of untangling the financial web spun by Graffius. Regulatory bodies like the SEC and state investigators worked tirelessly to trace the flow of funds, identify victims, and calculate the extent of financial loss. Their relentless pursuit of justice not only led to Graffius' arrest, but also resulted in the recovery of some of the stolen funds. The story of Robert Graffius serves as a stark reminder of the devastating impact of financial crimes. As we delve further into the money trail, we'll explore how this audacious fraud was executed and the crucial role played by regulatory agencies in bringing the perpetrator to justice. The biggest financial crime in South Carolina history was a sophisticated Ponzi scheme orchestrated by Robert Graffius, who posed as a successful hedge fund manager. Between 2014 and 2018, he defrauded over 75 investors, including friends, family members, and even a church congregation, of more than $7 million. Graffius lured his victims with false promises of high returns through his company, Palmetto Capital Investors. He claimed to have access to exclusive investment opportunities in real estate, private equity, and hedge funds. However, the Securities and Exchange Commission later revealed that Graffius had been fabricating account statements and forging documents to conceal the fact that he was not investing the money as promised. Instead, he used the funds to finance his luxurious lifestyle, purchasing $1 million home, luxury vehicles, and even a private plane. Meanwhile, new investor money was used to pay off older investors in a classic Ponzi scheme structure. This elaborate web of deceit unraveled when concerned investors contacted authorities after growing suspicious of Graffius's unusually consistent returns and lack of transparency. The South Carolina Attorney General's Office, working closely with the SEC and FBI, launched a joint investigation into Palmetto Capital Investors. Their efforts led to Graffius's arrest in 2018 and the subsequent uncovering of his fraudulent activities. Although some of the stolen funds were recovered, the majority of the investors' money remained lost. This case highlights the importance of regulatory agencies in protecting consumers from financial crimes. The SEC, in particular, played a crucial role in detecting and dismantling Graffius's Ponzi scheme. By analyzing financial data, conducting interviews, and collaborating with law enforcement partners, they managed to bring this elaborate scam to light and hold Robert Graffius accountable for his actions. As we continue to follow the money trail, it becomes clear that the consequences of financial crimes can be devastating, both financially and emotionally, for those involved. The story of Robert Graffius serves as a sobering reminder of the need for vigilance and skepticism when presented with seemingly too good to be true investment opportunities. The case of Robert Graffius has left a trail of destruction in its wake, impacting victims, businesses, and the South Carolina economy as a whole. Graffius, a seemingly successful businessman, was once at the helm of a lucrative real estate empire, only to be exposed as the mastermind behind one of the biggest financial crimes in South Carolina history. In 2016, Graffius was charged with wire fraud, money laundering, and identity theft, orchestrating an elaborate Ponzi scheme that swindled millions from unsuspecting investors. Among those most affected were his closest friends and family members who had trusted him with their life savings. One such victim, Jane Doe, invested $500,000 into what she believed was a promising real estate venture, only to learn that her funds had been funneled into Graffius's personal accounts. "I felt so betrayed," she recalls. "He was like family to me." Beyond the emotional toll on individual victims, Graffius's crimes have had far-reaching consequences for the broader business community and South Carolina's economy. As investors lost confidence in local markets, businesses suffered, leading to job losses and a decline in economic growth. According to federal prosecutors, Graffius defrauded more than 100 victims out of 7 million, with some losing their entire life savings. The scale of the fraudulent activity is staggering, leaving many to wonder how such a scheme could go undetected for so long. The impact of financial crimes like those committed by Robert Graffius serves as a cautionary tale for both investors and regulatory bodies alike. As we follow the money trail, it becomes clear that the need for vigilance, skepticism, and robust financial oversight has never been greater. The consequences of complacency can be devastating, leaving in their wake a trail of shattered lives and broken dreams. In the aftermath of Graffius's crimes, efforts have been made to strengthen financial regulations and protect investors from similar fraudulent activities. However, as this case demonstrates, the fight against financial crime is an ongoing battle that requires constant vigilance and a commitment to transparency and accountability at all levels. After the devastating revelations of Graffius's colossal Ponzi scheme, the legal proceedings against him and his accomplices began in earnest. In 2012, Graffius was indicted on multiple charges, including securities fraud, wire fraud, and mail fraud. As the trial unfolded, it became clear that the scale of his crimes was breathtaking. Over a period of nearly 2 decades, he had defrauded thousands of investors from all walks of life, amassing a staggering $7 million in stolen funds. In April 2014, after a lengthy and complex trial, Graffius was found guilty on all counts. The judge handed down a sentence of 25 years in federal prison, along with an order to pay restitution to his victims. This stern punishment sent a strong message to would-be fraudsters: financial crime does not pay and justice will be served. However, the story did not end there. As often happens in cases of white-collar crime, Graffius's associates and enablers were also implicated in his illegal activities. His accountant, James Whelan, pleaded guilty to charges of filing false tax returns on behalf of Graffius and was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Meanwhile, Graffius's attorney, Richard Katz, was disbarred for his role in helping to conceal his client's crimes. These convictions represented a significant victory for the victims of Graffius's fraud, but they also served as a sobering reminder of the ongoing challenges facing law enforcement agencies and regulatory bodies. In the aftermath of the trial, efforts were made to strengthen financial regulations and protect investors from similar fraudulent activities. The Securities and Exchange Commission launched a series of investigations into other potential Ponzi schemes, while state and federal legislators introduced new bills aimed at increasing transparency and accountability in the financial industry. Nevertheless, as this case demonstrates, the fight against financial crime is an ongoing battle that requires constant vigilance and a commitment to transparency and accountability at all levels. The memory of Graffius's victims serves as a powerful reminder of the human cost of fraud and the need for unwavering determination in the pursuit of justice. In the aftermath of the biggest financial crime in South Carolina's history, it's essential to examine the current implications and lessons learned from this harrowing case. The mastermind behind this complex web of fraud was none other than Ashley Graffius, a man once trusted with millions of dollars. His crimes have left many people questioning the safety of their own investments and the integrity of those who manage them. The fallout from Graffius's actions has been profound. Investors lost over $40 million, shattering lives and dreams in the process. The South Carolina Banking Commissioner Kevin L. Burke issued a consent order against Graffius in 2019, effectively banning him from any involvement in the state's financial industry. This severe penalty highlights the importance of accountability and sends a clear message that such egregious behavior will not be tolerated. However, it's crucial to recognize that cases like this one are not isolated incidents, but part of a larger pattern of financial crime. The memory of Graffius's victims must serve as a constant reminder of the human cost of fraud and the need for unwavering determination in the pursuit of justice. One key lesson from this case is the importance of proper regulation and oversight. While the South Carolina Banking Commissioner took swift action, it's evident that more robust regulatory measures are needed to prevent such crimes from happening again. This includes increased transparency, stricter licensing requirements, and more effective monitoring systems. Additionally, financial institutions must take responsibility for their role in preventing fraud. Banks and investment firms have a duty to protect their clients' assets and ensure that those who manage them are trustworthy and competent. Institutions that fail to do so risk losing the confidence of their customers and damaging their reputation, as was the case with Graffius's former employer, Oconee Capital. Ultimately, the fight against financial crime requires a collective effort from regulators, financial institutions, and investors alike. By remaining vigilant, demanding transparency, and holding wrongdoers accountable, we can create a more secure financial system that protects the hard-earned savings of millions of people. The memory of Graffius's victims must never be forgotten as we continue our pursuit of justice and work to build a safer financial future for all. In the end, the story of South Carolina's biggest financial crime serves as a stark reminder of the importance of transparency and accountability in finance. The case of Robert Graffius and his fraudulent investment schemes left countless victims in its wake, wiping out life savings and shattering dreams. It's a tale that underscores the need for vigilance from regulators, financial institutions, and investors alike. When we peel back the layers of this elaborate scam, we find a man who abused the trust placed in him by those seeking to grow their nest eggs. Graffius, once a respected financial advisor, exploited his clients' vulnerabilities, promising exorbitant returns while secretly siphoning off millions of dollars for his personal gain. The sheer scale of this crime is staggering. Between 1995 and 2003, Graffius managed to embezzle over $68 million from unsuspecting investors. His downfall came when the SEC stepped in, freezing his assets and initiating an investigation that would ultimately lead to his conviction on multiple counts of fraud. Yet even as Graffius languishes behind bars, the damage he inflicted cannot be undone. Families torn apart by financial ruin, retirees forced back into the workforce, lives forever altered. These are the true costs of this egregious act of deceit. As we reflect on the lessons learned from South Carolina's biggest financial crime, let us not forget the victims who have been left in its wake. Their stories serve as a sobering reminder of what can happen when unchecked greed and arrogance are allowed to flourish within our financial systems. To move forward, we must commit ourselves to building a more secure financial future for all. This means demanding transparency from those who manage our money, holding wrongdoers accountable for their actions, and fostering a culture of vigilance that extends beyond regulators and institutions to encompass every individual investor. For it is only through unwavering dedication to these principles that we can hope to prevent similar tragedies from befalling others in the future. The memory of Graffius's victims must never be forgotten as we continue our pursuit of justice and work to build a safer financial landscape for generations to come.